Hey guys, welcome back to Dad's Van. Today's project is going to be giving our stereo a boost by installing an amplifier. I'm going to be installing that under the passenger seat and doing some wiring up to the head unit up at the front of the vehicle. We're also going to be routing speaker wire to the back of the vehicle so we can add some speakers for the rear passengers. Alright, first thing we're going to want to do is take the passenger seat off and get access to under the passenger seat. That's where we're going to be mounting things. Alright, so before we remove the passenger seat, of course disconnect the starter battery under the driver's steering wheel. Doing so will make sure that disconnecting these seat connectors will not trigger SRS fault code. Alright, and I recommend, just so you don't crush this cable, go ahead and feed it all the way up through the seat. Alright, I definitely recommend putting a towel down if you have a rear seat, just to place the passenger seat on, because it is heavy and you don't want that pushing too hard into the rear seat upholstery. This particular amplifier from Alpine was one of the smallest I could find that had some decent power for 4 channels and a subwoofer. It's going to fit in here pretty nicely. We'll have to mount it up above the S-bar heater, so I'm going to have to build some mounting brackets to hold it up there. That'll be the first step. Alright, now I've already run positive and negative cables over from under the driver's seat, where I have bus bars for both positive and negative tied to ground under the driver's seat, of course. And those are 6-gauge wire, which is probably overkill for a run that's only about 1 meter. I think the Alpine document says that 8-gauge wire will do the trick at that length. But I just kind of wanted to future-proof it. So I've gone ahead and run 6-gauge over here to under the passenger seat. Now, because I have the S-bar heater here, we're going to have to mount the amplifier up probably about this height inside the passenger seat. It's not going to fit down on the floor just because of all the extra cabling for the S-bar. So I'm going to have to build some kind of bracket here that'll hold it up at that height, and then once we've got that locked down in a good mounting position, we can start connecting up the cables. Alright, we're going to cut an 8-inch piece of angled aluminum here. so measuring the distance between the mounting holes on here. It's about 5 3/8. Check it here. Yeah, 5 3/8. So we'll space these apart at 5 3/8. Alright, so my plan here for mounting this is going to be to get one piece of angle aluminum on this side tied into these 2 bolts, and I'll have that angle going up, and then on the other side we'll put another piece here with the angle going down, and then we'll put 2 rails across like this that align with the mounting holes, and that will give us a point to screw down the amplifier to. Alright, so for the front side we got a 10-inch piece of angle aluminum that I cut. Back side I got 8-inch piece. And we'll secure these to those 2 pieces running across. Alright, these 2 holes on the front are about 7 1/16 apart. Alright, and then I just want to get that level. And go ahead and mark where we're going to drill. Alright, so these 2 posts here are actually at slightly different heights. So to figure out where I need to drill things, I've taken some measurements, but another way I can figure this out is to just put a little bit of paint on there, get my level, my angle aluminum, and get it leveled out. Let's make contact and that'll show me where to drill. Alright, now we'll just get these spaced right, mark out some holes on both ends, and we should be good to go. Alright, so next up we're going to lay out our 2 bars and mark the holes for drilling so we can mount this. And when deciding where to place this, just, be cognizant of, how much clearance you need for cabling. Now it's good to drill these first, because we can come back, place them, and then mark where to cut the angle aluminum. Then when you're done cutting aluminum, I recommend using some emery cloth to file off the edges, just to make sure you don't cut yourself or scratch any of the paint. Alright, we got our pieces of aluminum cut with the mounting holes. Alright, so we've got everything secured under the passenger seat. I really like this mounting setup. It gave me the flexibility to mount the amplifier in the position I wanted to make sure that we had clearance for wires coming off both sides, and it's rock solid. So yeah, next step's going to be wiring up power, and then we'll get to the speaker wiring. Alright, next we're going to be getting into the head unit so we can attach some speaker wires for the rear speakers, as well as hook up the amp to the front and rear speakers. So we got to first get this cover off the bottom here so we can feed wires, and then we'll pop the head unit out. So this is a T20 bit. So a total of 4. One in the up by the gas pedal, and then these other 3. I just got a putty knife here. Okay, this is a 10mm. Okay, so looks like there's 4 Torx bolts holding this on. They are T20. So basically the way this comes off is on the bottom side. You have to squeeze. There's a little clip here that you squeeze so that you can raise this lever arm. And then once that's raised up, like that, and this whole thing should pop out. I'll flip it back over. These wires are in the way. There we go. Alright. So here's the front speaker wires. Blue and brown, orange and brown, purple, and green and brown. So this only has, since I have a crew van, this only has connections for the front speakers, positive and negative, and the slots for the rear speakers are empty. So we're going to need to get that out, get those added. Alright, so to get this brown connector out, I had to lift on this little tab here on top while pushing, and then there's another tab on the bottom. Pull that down and push, and then that'll start to come out. Alright, so what we're going to need to do is get a aftermarket harness that duplicates this, and get a speaker connector that can take all all front and rear speaker outputs from the head unit and then run those back to the amplifier. So we can't use this because this is going to the front speakers, but we'll want to use this for the return. And you can go online and get these aftermarket connectors for European vehicles. This is the one I used. And this will come with the same type of connector with all the pins. And so we're just going to pop that out of here and use it. Same sort of thing to get this out. Lift this tab, push, lift the bottom tab, push, and then this will just pull out. Okay, we'll just do a test fit here. Yep. Alright, so now we've got enough wires to do front and rear coming off the head unit, and we'll run these back to the amplifier. And then we'll have to bring the front speaker outputs from the amplifier back and connect them into this connector using another adapter. Alright, next step is going to be routing the outputs from the head unit to the inputs on the amplifier. So since we're going to have 8 of those, well, positive and negative for front left and right and rear left and right, I went ahead and got this 16 gauge speaker wire that this particular model has 4 conductors, so we can do just 2 of these, one for the front and one for the rear, going from the amp up to the head unit. So first thing we need to do, get the length right. Also going to run one for the front return from the amplifier output back to front speaker connection. Okay, for the return, we're just using the aftermarket mating connector that we used here, which is going to be this guy, and this will have the connections we need to go back into the front speakers. That's this product. Alright, so this amplifier takes RCA input, so I had to get this adapter that will allow me to convert from the speaker wire to RCA. It's this Rockford Fosgate RFI 2SW, and you got to pay a little bit of attention here to what's what. So the white and the white and black are for the gray connector, and then the gray and the gray and black are for the black connector. Alright, so we got our front input connected. We took the green wire from the front to the white of the RCA, the black to the white and black, the red to the gray, and the white to the black and gray. And those go into channel 1, which is left, and channel 2, which is right, respectively. Now we'll go ahead and hook up the back. Alright, now with the car battery starter disconnected, I'm going to go ahead and connect up the positive and negative power feed. Now looking at this, you know, there are some sharp edges in here. I don't want these, due to vibration driving, I don't want the casing to wear off and then to get a short, so I'm going to go ahead and add some protective sheath around the positive and negative lines. Alright, so we're going to plug this back in and
you just lost the left. Voters ask questions is pretty
awesome. Go to Xfinity.com, call.
Alright, that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found the video useful, please like the video or subscribe to our channel. Again, I have a lot of links to the products we used in the description. I do get a commission if you use those links, but it doesn't cost you anything more, so thank you for supporting our channel. Again, I want to remind you that anytime you're dealing with electrical, make sure you do your research. If you don't feel comfortable, ask questions on my channel or on the community. There's a lot of information out there, but you want to make sure you do this right and everything electrically to be safe. So again, if you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer. Thanks, and have fun out there.